Hey guys, welcome back to another movie review. It is insanely late at night right now. I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna commit to watching a film tonight. And that film is actually gonna be Concrete Cowboy. I believe that's how you pronounce the film. Um, and it's on Netflix right now. It stars Idris Elba and forget his name. Let me pull it up right now. It is one of the kids from Stranger Things. I just gotta get his name right. Caleb McLaughlin, I think it's his name. Sorry if I butchered that wrong. It's based off of a true life story of the Fletcher Street Stables, and it tells a story about these basically modern day cowboys and how they, try to preserve the nature of being a cowboy and also really the love for horses and the bond that they have with the horses within North Philadelphia. Um, Now, going into the film, I didn't know much about it. I knew it was a coming of age type film and that it had some relatively interesting reviews coming out of the TIFF and all that stuff. So, going into it, I didn't know what to expect. And coming out of it, I have to say, for what I had just watched, it's how do you say it? It's absolutely fair. The pace, I would say, is decent. It goes at a I wouldn't say it's very slow pace, but it goes at it meets in the middle. It doesn't go too fast, doesn't go too slow. It has a decent pace to it, to where how it flows. I also think that the atmosphere is also fair. I think that for what they are trying to present in a grounded, or how am I saying that? In what they're trying to do with the story, which is a grounded, true life story, the atmosphere complements it fairly enough, and I think that they are able to get certain emotional beats across to the viewer. And I thought also it was fairly well shot. I thought that a lot of the shots, particularly sometimes at the sunset, I thought looked really nice. And beyond that, though, and also the last thing also is that I think the performances are also solid. I think that there's some solid work being done here, particularly from Caleb, who is the main focus of the film. And I think that he does a solid job here from a performance. We'll talk about his character in a second, but and I thought Idris Elba was also fairly good in the film as well. Um, the thing I just pointed to, a character from Caleb, is where my issues lie with the film. The development for characters and characterization in general is fairly weak and fairly hollow, and a lot of that comes from the script. The script doesn't give a lot of, um, like I said, characterization here. It feels uh, very surface level, and you don't really get a lot from the characters beyond the performances, because I can't really speak much on how I could view Caleb's character. It just kind of feels like I'm watching a performance or watching a performer, not a character, and I don't like that. I like watching characters on film, not just performers. Um, and I have to say the progression of the film also seemed fairly rushed, a little bit uneven. At times it feels like it's going somewhere. And at other points it just feels like it's kind of rushing itself. And I didn't really like that type of pace, or sorry, that type of progression for the story. I really would, as the pace was, which was that, because in general I think the pace is good, but I just think that at some points the progression just doesn't feel like it's meeting that pace. Sometimes it just kind of slows down at certain points, and then at other points it moves up a little bit, but because the pace itself overall of how the film moves, I think is fine. I just think the progression of certain details of characters, stuff that you come to expect, like is a coming of age, so you know that Caleb is eventually going to come of age. These certain details I just feel weren't as developed as well, and I just think the overall development for characters and for the story itself, I just felt was the big issue of the film, because though characterization and development is what weighs its premise down in some respects, its solid performances and commitment to certain measures and atmosphere makes this true modern Western story find its footing, even if it stumbles along the way. Because the best word to describe Concrete Cowboy is it's fair. It's not bad. It's not great. It's definitely it's solid. It's something that you can watch casually and have a good time with. But if you're looking for the much more in-depth details and finding rich characters to get attached to, you're not going to get that here. However, from a decent narrative standpoint, the film hits its mark. But for getting anywhere deeper, I feel that the film unfortunately misses its mark in some aspects.